This is part 4 of section 5.2. We want to find sine of 7 pi over 12. And in a previous problem with cosine, we found that 7 pi over 12 can be rewritten as pi over 3 plus pi over 4. Now, if you use your sum formula for sine, you get sine of pi over 3 times cosine of pi over 4 plus sine of pi over 4 times cosine of pi over 3. Sine pi over 3 is square root 3 over 2 times square root 2 over 2 plus square root 2 over 2 times 1/2. So we have square root 6 plus square root 2 over 4. Okay, now let's do cosecant of 11 pi over 12. Since cosecant is 1 over sine, I'm going to need to figure out sine of 11 pi over 12 first, and then I'll just take the reciprocal of it to get to that. Well, 11 pi over 12 can be written as 2 pi over 3 plus pi over 4. And again, I know I can use pi over 4 because I have a denominator of 12. Now, using the formula, you have sine of 2 pi over 3 cosine of pi over 4 plus sine of pi over 4 cosine of 2 pi over 3. Sine of 2 pi over 3 is square root 3 over 2 times square root 2 over 2 plus square root 2 over 2 times cosine of 2 pi over 3 is negative 1/2. So we have square root 6 minus square root 2 over 4, and that's sine. So cosecant would be 4 over square root 6 minus square root 2. Then you should rationalize this denominator, multiply both upper and bottom by square root 6 plus square root 2, sorry. Okay, so I'm not going to distribute because I'm hoping to have a cancellation, and I can always distribute at the end if it is needed. Over, this is a difference of squares, so it ends up being 6 minus 2, which is, of course, 4, so this cancels, and your answer here is the square root of 6 plus the square root of 2. Okay, so now let's look at these in a different direction. If we're asked to find the exact value without a calculator of sine of 56 degrees times cosine of 34 degrees plus cosine of 56 degrees times sine of 34 degrees. We don't know the exact value of these trig functions individually. But what they hope that you recognize is that this is a mixture of sine and cosine with the same two angles, and then you're taking sine of 56 and then cosine of 56. So it's not the same part on either one. So if you compare this to this side right here, you have sine. So this is a plus. For it to be a plus, this needs to be a plus. So this is the same thing as sine of 56 degrees plus 34 degrees. And so that is sine of 90 degrees, which is 1. Okay, now this one, I have cosine, cosine, sine, sine, and so that means it's going to be one of the cosine formulas. This has a minus in it, and these are supposed to have opposite signs. So I need to be adding these two values together. So this is the same thing as, cosine of 57 degrees plus 33 degrees, which is cosine of 90 degrees, which is 0. Okay, now let's look at this one. I have a tangent plus a tangent and one minus tangent. This sine matches this sine. So since this is plus, I need to be adding these two together. This is the same thing as tangent of 28 degrees plus 17 degrees, which is 45 degrees. So tangent of 45 degrees, that's 1. Okay. Now let's find the exact value of each expression given that tangent of u is equal to 3/4 and u is in quadrant 3, and then sine of v is 5/13 and v is in quadrant 2. Okay, so let's deal with this one first. If we are in quadrant 3, in quadrant 3, tangent is positive, but sine and cosine are negative. And this is my angle U, right there. Okay? Well, this point, x, y, it's 3, 4. I mean, it's 4, 3. Sorry, but it's going to be negative on both of them because it's in the third quadrant. So this is -3, this is -4. Use the Pythagorean theorem, and you'll find that the hypotenuse here is 5. So for u, sine of u is y over the radius, so -3/5. Cosine of u is x over radius, so -4/5. And then we know that tangent of u is 3/4. Okay, now sine of v is 5/13 and v is in quadrant 2. So in quadrant 2, this is our angle v. In quadrant 2, sine is positive, but cosine and tangent are negative. And this will be the point something 5, and that radius is 13. And so this is 5 here. This is going to be -12. So we know sine of v is 5/13. Cosine of v is -12/13. And tangent of v will be -5/12. Okay, now finally, sine of u plus v will be sine of u cosine v plus sine v cosine u. Pulling this from here, sine of u is -3/5. Cosine of v is -12/13. Okay, plus sine of v is 5/13 times cosine of u is -4/5. And this gives us 36/65 minus 20/65, which is 16/65. And that's our answer. Okay, now let's use these same values to find tangent of u minus v. I went ahead, even though on this problem I didn't need the tangent values, I went ahead and figured them out because I was going to need them here. this is going to equal tangent of u minus tangent of v over 1 plus tangent of u tangent of v. So I have 3/4 minus a negative 5/12 over 1 plus 3/4 times negative 5/12. Okay, so we have 3/4 plus 5/12 over 1 minus 15 over 48. If you get a common denominator and add here, you get 7 over 6, and this is going to be divided by, when you do the subtraction here, you get 11 over 16. And then that's 7 over 6 times 16 over 11, which gives you 56 over 33.